Hi guys, James from Twisted Assisted here, coming to you today from the custom shop. I had a parcel land and I thought to myself, well, why don't we make a video about it? And the video is going to be twofold. Well, first of all, we'll see what's in the box. And then this kind of reason behind why I received this free box of knives makes an interesting segue into some behind the scenes information to the production knife manufacturing world. And this video might be of interest to you if you have an idea, if you're an entrepreneur, if you have an idea in mind for a knife or a tool, to actually getting it from the drawing board all the way through to getting it prototyped and then leading ultimately onto mass production. So why would somebody send me a box of knives completely free? Well, that is because this company who sent it to me is an OEM manufacturer, and that stands for Original Equipment Manufacturer. And they make, I would say, 90% of production knives. And this one, they can be based anywhere in the world, but this one is based in Guangzhou, which is in China. And that is a famous district in China that specialize in knife making. If you buy a knife that's made in China, then like as not, it was made in Guangzhou. And so I thought, well, let's see what's in the box. Let's go into the reasons as to why I've received this box, and then talk into some of the processes and where OEM companies actually fit into knife making. So let's just open up the box and see what we got. You can see my name is on the parcel there. I'm not sure if that's James Richards. I'm hoping it is. I'm not going to get it tattooed just in case it isn't. Let's have a look. I'm just going to cut this open. So let's talk about why somebody has sent me a box of free knives. Essentially, these are production samples, and their purpose is so that me, as a potential customer of the OEM company, can see what the company is capable of making. It's basically showing me what they can do. And let's have a look. All right, I've got two knives, two boxes in there. Let's have a little look. Now, the reason why most production knife companies use OEM companies is because it's extremely expensive to run a factory. If there were no such thing as OEM manufacturers, then Twisted Assisted would not be in business right now. We simply don't have the money to buy £50,000 or £200,000 CNC machines, laser cutters, water jets, tempering ovens, all that sort of thing. So what we do is we outsource the work. We go to the market and we ask the OEMs to submit production samples of their work. And if we're happy with them, then we take it a little bit further. Now, there isn't one big factory or two big factories in China that do everything. They're like one-stop shops. That just isn't how it works. What happens is you will have lots of factories out there, but these factories will only do one or two things, like CNC or heat treat. And so let's say you get a pocket knife made, that will have probably 6 visits to various factories as they're making the 1,000-piece order. and it will finally end up at a place where everything has been manufactured, all of the components, and then some people in a factory environment will assemble each knife prior to quality checking. So think of an OEM as not someone that has a factory themselves, but they know a lot of factories and factory bosses, and they will be able to create your tool or your knife by utilizing all of those resources, and then bring everything together, have it assembled, have it quality checked, and then eventually, after you've paid for it, ship everything to you. So let's have a look what this particular OEM has sent me. So we have cleaning cloth. All right, so we've got a folding knife, which is a button lock by the looks of it. Let's just have a look. Now, we've got titanium handles here, and this knife is to showcase their skill with titanium. It's got a milled pocket clip. This has got some fairly intricate cutouts on the handle, and yeah, button lock. This OEM specializes in button locks. Funky drop point blade like this, and I can also see on this blade, you probably can't see it in the video, that there is a tie-nye coating on that. Now the steel on this is M390, so it's a high grade powdered super steel used here. Let's just check the action. One thing we're looking for in production samples, we'll look at the overall fit and finish. We'll look at blade centering. There we go. Yeah, nothing wrong there. Just checking over all looking for any gaps or any, and this is a flipper knife, so yeah, that flips great. Nice heavy blade, always helps. It's drop shut action. Yeah, that's really nice. You might wonder, why are they doing a titanium nitride coating on a knife which is already stainless, as M390 is? That would be, it's just a finish. It's got a slight, again, you can't see it in the video, but it's got a slight bronzy finish on the knife. It looks like a very fine bead blast, but it probably isn't. It's the tie-nye coating. Now we're going to check for lateral blade plate. No. And then blade rock. No, that is absolutely rock solid. So we now have an example of what this factory can do. So Twisted Assisted had a requirement for titanium, high-end knife in some form of super steel. We know that they can actually do that for us. But this is the result of several factories, and the OEM, the original equipment manufacturer, they will liaise with all of those factories and make it happen, and then ship it to you at the end of the day. Obviously, there are some examples of some companies that don't use OEMs. If you look at, say, Tops Knives, they will, they've got their own factory, they've got their own setup, they've got their own team, and therefore they don't need to. If you want to, say, cut down some costs, then an OEM is a fantastic way to go. If you don't want to have to outlay money on equipment and hire people and hire factory space and everything else, it is the best option. It's the only, is the only option. In the UK, there's some small knife manufacturers like Arthur Wright, who we deal with, and they've got their own little factory, they've got their own setup. OEM is not relevant to them at all, and that's what makes them special. Right, let's look at the second example that we've got here. So this one isn't a flipper. It's got a very nice milled thumb stud there, look. It's another button lock. And we can see here the quality of the machining on the back spacers. I believe this one had standoffs, didn't it? Yeah, so this one's got standoffs. This one, just looking at the spec here, is S35VN. Let's check the action of this. Let's just press the button. Yeah. Blade is centered. It's on bearings. Check for lateral blade play. No, nothing there. No blade rock. There we have it. So how would you contact certain original equipment manufacturers to get your idea made? Well, they don't advertise in the yellow pages. They do tend to visit knife shows. So if you're heading to Blade Atlanta this year, there'll be lots of OEM companies floating around at the show, selling their wares, showing their production samples, and gathering business and setting up meetings with customers. You would be surprised how many, it is probably the majority of production knife manufacture. It happens this way. And if you look at a company like, I don't know, Columbia River Knife and Tool, CRKT, they are, I would think, almost exclusively use OEMs for their knife manufacture. It's just the most effective way of doing that. So you've got your idea. You then make contact with several OEMs. You send across your drawings, or you can also send them a prototype if you make a physical prototype, and then they will do a CAD drawing, like a computer generated drawing of the knife. It's really amazing the software that they use. It almost looks like photographs, so you can get a real feel for it. Once it's been generated as a computer image, the prototyping stage begins. And you will typically spend between $500 to $750 for several prototypes of the knife. Once you agree that, of course, it's your chance to iron out any little problems, make any tweaks to the first prototype. I've done as many as 3 different prototypes on some projects. It's just part of the process. Once you've done that, then you'll agree it, and a production schedule will be raised. You talk about how many pieces you want made. Typically, with the larger OEMs, you can't get less than 1,000 made, but there are some that do smaller quantities as well. And if anybody wants the details of any good quality OEMs, let me know in the comments and I can send you their information. We are currently looking for a new one. We work with about 3, all on various projects at the moment. It's not good to have all your eggs in one basket, so Twisted Assisted use about 3. And we went out to the marketplace and we asked for samples from 3 different OEMs. They sent the samples to us, and then we pick who we like the best. Of course, it's always advisable, because of the language barrier, to pick an OEM where they have a contact. Your point of contact with the OEM does speak good English. That is very, very important for the sake of communication. So if you're dealing with an OEM and the English is a bit halting, or you feel they're using Google Translate exclusively, then that's not a good sign. And I would strongly urge you to choose an original equipment manufacturer who has a contact who does speak fluent English. That is a big important one. So you've paid your $500, you've got your prototype done, you've agreed the production schedule, you've got 1,500 units being made. What you'll do is, before they'll allow you to pull the trigger, you've got to pay a 30% deposit. That's the industry standard. So whatever the total cost for those 1,500 pieces, you will pay a 30% deposit. And then between 90 to 120 days, your order will be manufactured. And as soon as that's ready to ship, then you will receive the bill for the outstanding 70%. That's the painful bit. Once that is paid, your knives will be either shipped to you via air freight. I mean, that's the quickest way, is to use FedEx or somebody like that. And then if it's something, say, getting a large fixed blade made, it would probably be advisable to have it shipped by sea. It will be cheaper. And then once it arrives in the UK, you then have to pay your customs charges, so duty at about 8%, and then VAT, import VAT at 20%. Once those are paid, then your order, your knife, your creations will be shipped directly to you. And that is just a rough overview of how OEM knife manufacturing works. Of course, in order to contact them, what happens is, because Twisted Assisted have a website, they get in contact with us. I get about 3 emails a week, and I mean, if I was cynical, I could ask for production samples of those 3 companies, and just end up with a whole pile of knives. But obviously, that wouldn't be very ethical to do that. We only ask for production samples when we are seriously considering using somebody. So I hope this was an interesting overview. Shall we give away one of these production samples once we're finished with using it? Yeah, let's do that. So if you want to have a chance to win one of these samples, so you've got the M390 flipper, the big boy, or if you want the slightly less fancy thumb stud button lock, if you would like a chance, what we'll do is we'll do a draw. Very, very simple. Just comment on this post, like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and you will be entered into the competition to win one of these large folding knives. Okay, thanks everybody for watching. If you would like more videos regarding the process of knife manufacture, let me know in the comments. I don't want to be boring everybody with this, but if you'd like to know a little bit more about the processes, then I'd be very happy to do some more videos. So thank you very much for watching. All the best.